Alright, g'day, hi and welcome. Hopefully I got a good angle here. Oh, get down on the ground. Oh, too old to get on the ground. Yeah, so, okay, what you are looking at, to my right, is the magnificent Mark Holcomb SVN7 SE model Signature Series PRS guitar. To the left is the PRS SE Mark Holcomb 6-string guitar in drop C tuning. Now, I've got the 7-string for a year now. I'm still paying it off. And I'm also still paying off the Mark Holcomb 6-string as well. And I'm also, I guess now you could say, I have the 5-string bass paid off. Now, I will be doing a full review of this guitar starting next month, because it'll be a year ago that I bought it. And the long story short is these are both incredibly awesome guitars. If these were the only two guitars I owned, need not want. They are really damn good. They will make you question the rest of your guitar collection. They're that good. You do have to live with them a little while to get used to that 20-degree fretboard, radius fretboard. But these are the smoothest necks on any guitars I've ever played under $5,000. The only other guitar that I can think of that had a neck as smooth as these ones was the Jimmy Page Les Paul 59 Signature Series Gibson. And that was probably the smoothest. These are wet sanded necks or whatever. They're just incredible. So I have no regrets of buying these guitars whatsoever. But how I bought them, and I'm about to get ready to buy a drum kit, and I'm trying to come up with the best way to do it, because the drum kit's going to be the most expensive instrument I ever bought. Now, these two instruments in Canadian dollars, this guitar, bang for the buck, was $1,300 before tax, so it came up just a little under $1,500 with tax. Bang for the buck, that's probably, it's so good as a professional guitar. Like, if you walked on stage with your favorite guitar players to go jam with them, you wouldn't feel like you were like a hack. You'd be like, you'd walk on stage with confidence with that guitar, and I can't wait to play it in front of people. This guitar was about $100 more. The new version of this is about $200 more. So this was about I think it was $1,410, came up just a little under $1,600 Canadian. And now the same guitar is like $1,550, $1,600, close to $1,600. So how did I buy them? Well, I bought them on the credit card, and this brings me to buying musical equipment with credit cards. Ooh, this is going to be a juicy topic. So, years ago, back in 2003, I got a it was in 2003, I got my first credit card, and it had a $500 limit. So what I did is I ran it up, I paid it off. Ran it up, paid it off, right? And I was able to do that, and I bought a few things, right? Some cheaper guitars and stuff like that. In hindsight, I probably shouldn't have wasted my money on those cheaper guitars. It's just, I was buying with my eyes, I guess. And it's like, oh yeah, this one's good enough, blah, blah, blah. And it really doesn't. When you get to a certain level of musicianship, you're better off, quality becomes more important than quantity. Like, you're better off to have one phenomenal guitar like this than 6 or 7 cheap guitars. Yeah, it's nice to have the backup guitar. You should have at least 2. One as a backup. If you're a 7-string guy, then you're going to have 2 7-strings. If you're a 6-string guy, whatever. Or you could have like a 7-string and an 8-string or whatever. Or just really be creative of how to play the 7-string stuff on the 6-string, which you can do. It doesn't sound the same. So I had a friend tell me, he said, are you just like running the card up and paying it off right away? I goes, yeah. I said, the idea is to build my credit. He goes, well, that won't work. He says, they got to make money off you, right? So, interest, right? So what I would do is I would run it up to the 500, and then I'd put like, say, $490 on it and let them make, a little bit of interest off of the off the $10 or whatever. And then the card went up to 1,000, then 1,500, and then something like 2,500, and then 3,500. Now, when it went up to 3,500, that's when I bought my Gibson. my first Gibson, the SG3 that you see in some previous videos, that beautiful guitar in 2006. And then I get a call from the credit card company one day, and they're like, "Hi, Mr. Giroux, would you like to up your credit card to unlimited?" I said, "Unlimited, does that mean my credit rating is really good?" They say, "Your credit rating is absolutely fantastic. You can get a gold card." I said, "Good, cancel it." Mission accomplished. Good, cancel it. And I canceled it, which in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have canceled it. It didn't cost me anything to have that credit card, where some credit cards you have to pay a monthly, like $10 or something like that. If you're making big income and you carry the credit, use the credit card for everything, then yeah, okay, whatever. And you might get a better interest rate, but there might be like a monthly monthly fee or whatever. But the thing is that credit cards are debt, right? So you have to understand everything as debt. So the question becomes, how much debt can you manage? And for a lot of people, they'll say, don't get a credit card, stay away from it. Just don't get it at all. And I don't say that. I say, get what you can afford. So could I save up for these guitars and buy them? Possibly, but most likely not, because these two guitars are, we'll say one is about half paid for. The other one, I've got about $2,400 left on my credit card, which when I do my next payment in a couple of, in a few days, I'm going to put $500, maybe if I get a little bit of work, maybe $600 on that credit card. And that'll take me down to, $1,900, depending on how much I can put on the credit card. Right? Which the minimum monthly payment right now on the $2,400 is $122 a month. And at that rate, if I were to just pay the basic minimum, it would take me something like 6 years to pay off because of the interest rate and stuff like that. And it's about $30 a month interest at the high side, and it comes down proportionate to the amount you pay, and it's different every month. So yes, I'm going to be paying more for these guitars than if I were to just outright buy them, but I don't have the cash to outright buy them. And if I were to do other payments, through through the music store itself, which you can do with a lot of stuff, the interest rate is really not better. You're going to pay, probably less per month, but you're probably going to pay more interest that way. So you have to kind of see which way is the better way to go. Maybe it might be better to go the way. Maybe you pay, you pay the guitar and you pay maybe only like, say, 10% interest of the overall purchase. Well, that might be a lot cheaper. You know what I mean? So maybe you do it that way. So the point I'm making is that it's an option. Is it a great option? Well, everybody will always say the thing is, manage your debt. Don't go into debt unless you have to. Now, that's the caveat right there. Unless you have to, right? I don't have to go into debt. I can choose to go into this debt. So it's, to me, the way I look at it, it's a great way to get really good equipment. But the first thing is what is the maximum minimum monthly payment I can make? The maximum minimum, which is around $200 for me. Sometimes I can basically pay more than that, if I have a really good month. This time of year, 200 is about the most I can squeeze, except for I got a little bit lucky the last 2 months and made a little bit more in January and February than I normally make. Except for February so far. It's been, I think I made like $180 this month. But I have this little formula that I use. Okay, because like the next big purchase I got to do, and it'll probably be the biggest instrument purchase possibly, and that's going to be the drum kit, which is going to cost me a lot. So let's give you an idea. Okay, so when I bought this guitar just a little over a year ago, and this guitar will be a year ago next month, plus the base. I had already still owed about another $1,000 on the Flying V. Okay. By that time, the 8-string was already paid off. And I had about $1,000 left on the Flying V. So when you added up these two guitars, I came up to about $4,600 on my credit card. Okay, that was the highest I'd ever put that credit card. But that was during when money was coming in, and my first minimum monthly payment was going to be something at $4,600 was going, and it'll be different from every credit card, was going to be a minimum of about $380. So meaning I would have to pay $380, and it would have taken me like 8 years to pay off the card at that rate if I just did the minimum because of the interest rate. The interest rate was almost like $40 or $50 for that month. But then I would put like $500-$600 on it. And then the next month it'd be like $360 would be the minimum. And I'd still put another $400 on it. And then the next month it'd be like $350 or $340. And then I put it, whatever. And then what ended up happening is after a while, I'm always overpaying. Whatever the minimum monthly payment is, you should at least double it. That way you're going to save in interest and whatever. So throughout the summer, I was able to get it down to where the minimum monthly payment was below $200, right? So I was good that way, right? But last year was a very tight year. I made more money, but the cost of everything went up. Cost of fuel. I mean, it was costing me almost $300 to fill the fuel, to fill up my truck, right? So that was where I was getting kicked in the ass.